The Republican presidential debate at the University of South Florida in Tampa is just wrapping up, and the heated topic of the night turned out to be the document Newt Gingrich released 2 hours before the debate, his 2006 consulting contract with Freddie Mac.
You were on this stage at a prior debate. You said you were paid $300,000 by Freddie Mac as an historian. They don't pay people $25,000 a month for 6 years as historians. That adds up to about $1.6 million. They weren't hiring you as an historian, and this contract proves that you were not an historian. You were a consultant.
Joining me now are Wendy Schiller, Associate Professor of Political Science and Public Policy at Brown University, and Howard Feynman, AOL Huffington Post Editorial Director and an MSNBC political analyst at the site of tonight's debate. Howard, what was the feeling there? It seemed like a relatively subdued debate in compared to the other ones we've seen.
Well, the overall atmosphere of the debate, Lawrence, was very subdued, very low-key. Just as a general matter, I think the reporters here are tired. I think the candidates are tired. Quite frankly, this thing has been going on nonstop from the middle of December till now. Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, lots of drama, lots of excitement, lots of local involvement and hand-to-hand, combat and seeking out voters. Everybody came down here to Florida and sort of things kind of loosened up a bit. But I do think you're right to have focused on what was really the most politically substantive part of the debate, which came right at the beginning, where Mitt Romney had really studied his brief and really went after Newt Gingrich on the topic of Freddie Mac, which matters here in Florida because of all the foreclosures and all the problems in the real estate industry. Except that Mitt just kind of tried to blow it off, and it didn't really, in the end, generate as much drama as perhaps it should have.
Wendy Schiller, how do you score it?
Well, I think that you're raising a really good point, Howard, about Mitt Romney. He looks uncomfortable when he goes negative. I mean, you could really feel it. He was doing what he was supposed to do, and he soaked up a lot of time on the issue, which I think dented Gingrich a little bit, if you think about it. But he looks very uncomfortable, and it's unclear what his learning curve is. That's what struck me. I thought after he was done with the negative, he repeated everything that was the exact same thing we've heard all year, right?
Yeah.
So why can't he innovate a little bit? I mean, as a businessman, innovate in your arguments, both against Gingrich and against Obama. So that's what I thought. I thought he scored some points against Gingrich, but he looked very pained doing that.
Newt Gingrich actually picked up an endorsement during the debate on Fox News. Let's look at that now.
I have come to the growing realization, for me anyway, that Newt Gingrich is the guy who can articulate what America is all about, American exceptionalism, can make the case, not just read the talking points or do it off a teleprompter, can make the case for free markets and our basic case that lower taxes can be good for everybody and bring about growth that's good for everybody. And he's not afraid.
Howard Feynman, there's former Senator Thomson, who ran against Romney in that field last time around, just couldn't quite bring himself to endorse Mitt Romney, who is a very unpopular guy among people who run against him.
Yeah, and listen, Mitt Romney did his best to make the case that the handlers told him to make about Newt Gingrich, and there's a lot to attack in Newt Gingrich's record. The notion that Newt Gingrich is running as an outsider is preposterous. The notion that he was a historian for 6 years for Freddie Mac is preposterous. But even those points being made don't necessarily help Mitt Romney, because other politicians who have some skill as politicians, who have some fire in terms of what they believe in and the people they know they can reach, don't respect Mitt Romney. Now, Fred Thomson ran for president briefly. I covered all 10 minutes of his presidential campaign 4 years ago. But Fred Thomson is a skilled communicator, and he knows how to communicate with voters, and he did it very well when he was in the Senate, and if he chose to or had the energy to, he could do it well even right now. And I actually think that having Fred Thomson at Newt Gingrich's side is going to help Newt Gingrich in the big Super Tuesday primary that will be coming up, might even help him here in Florida. If Fred Thomson gets interested in it, interested in the project, he could be a very good salesman for Newt Gingrich because he appeals to the same kind of disaffected, middle-class, resentful voters in the South that Newt Gingrich won running away in South Carolina.
Wendy, it seemed to me that Newt Gingrich made a conscious decision to not do what everybody was expecting him to do. You know, where's that, you know, right out of the gate, shot at Brian Williams. Just take a real hard whack at the moderator and at that horrible elite media that is always setting up Republicans to, you know, fight with each other. He seemed to really do a change-up. He wanted to show he could be, I think, maybe his notion of presidential, because he stayed very calm and steady throughout this thing.
He did, and almost dismissive sometimes when they were attacking him. And I think it's a testament to Brian Williams, frankly. I think Gingrich wasn't about to attack Brian Williams. It's a different ballgame here, I think. But I think that Gingrich, in particular, was bracing for attacks that he thought were going to be worse than came. And I think he wanted to save his energy, stay calm, not let it get away from him. But he never really got the real kind of fire I think he was anticipating. So I think that's why he started so calmly, just in case he had to ramp it up to defend himself.
All right, we're going to take a break here. We're going to be, Howard, we're going to take a break right here. We're going to come back with more debate coverage. Stay with us. We're going to be joined by Chris Matthews, who's also on the scene. We'll be back.